head to Detroit. Lost both coordinators. Win total at 10.5 after winning 15 games last year. Wait, Aiden Hutchinson is back and is the defensive favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year.
Really?
Yes, he's the favorite. That was we were almost going to do that story 3 times.
He's gonna be
finally got it in.
I'll not to encroach on the DraftKings marketplace, but if anyone wants to make those bets with me personally, I'll be the house for those.
Is that allowed? Do you need a gambling license?
Well, let's not get into
Scratch
detail.
that from the edit that on the delay.
Are you buying or selling that Detroit stays dominant?
I'm selling.
Oh.
Now, I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs. They were 15-2. All right? I think the loss of their 2 coordinators is going to be big. Aaron Glenn, Ben Johnson.
Leg looks scary.
Aiden
Does a little.
I do like Aiden. I don't know that I see him. He could obviously be Defensive Player of the Year, but Aiden's coming back on a mission. I do like that. But that division is so tough. And I think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be running through the league. And their schedule is a monster. Outside of their division, they got the Rams, the Buccaneers, the Eagles, the Chargers, Houston, and Kansas City.
Yeah.
So, I don't see 14, 15 wins.
No, the problem for that schedule, if you look at it, is how many can you be like, oh, lay up the Giants game and the Browns? Those are the only, like, layups. All divisional games are tough. You know what I mean? In any division, particularly that one. The Steelers late in the year, the fact that, I guess that's in Detroit, so when it is in the year doesn't matter as much. But the fact that the Steelers game is one of your easier games, theoretically, speaks to that. Listen.
Can I go just on the schedule before you go? That week 2 game, if Ben Johnson goes into Detroit and like hangs 30 points on them.
With a trick play?
I think that will be demoralizing. And then you go to, I think this could get, and then you're headed to Baltimore.
Right.
I think it could get off to an ugly start based on that game.
I'm just worried about a de facto kind of Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah, a little bit.
2 years ago, they're this close to making the Super Bowl. Dan Campbell's like, we might never be there again. They're like, no, we can be. They are the best team in their conference start to finish. They're the ones with the bye. They play a de facto playoff game in Week 18. They play great. They play their worst game of the year in the playoff game, and they're one and done. And then you lose both coordinators. And we've talked a lot about Ben Johnson, understandably, but I think Aaron Glenn's excellent as well. Mm-hmm. And the flip side to your coin of Ben Johnson was the tactician, but Dan Campbell was the motivator. Agreed. But it also means you lost both your tacticians.
Yeah.
And so, that's so.
And they got a very good quarterback, Jared Goff. He's not like Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow.
No, he's not a guy that you just
Allen.
know
Yeah,
if
you know
he's
what
healthy,
they're gonna do.
he's going to be dominant.
Yeah, so I'm selling.
Okay.
All right. So, listen, let's take a look at their schedule. Yeah, it's obviously a brutal schedule. I think some of the layup games, I don't know if they said this, but like Cleveland Browns, New York Giants, to me, those are the 2 main ones more than anything. Cleveland Browns, New York Giants. And then I guess, who the heck knows who's the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but the Steelers. So it's a tough schedule. We know all the divisional games. You got the Ravens, you got the Bengals, got the Bucks, got the Commanders, got the Eagles. Cowboys will be interesting. We'll see how that season unfolds for them. I don't think that they're going to be the best team out there. And you also got the Rams. Dominant, I don't think so. I don't think any team's going to be dominant this coming season. I really don't. Not the Eagles, not the Chiefs, not the Bills, not the Ravens. I think I also view dominance differently in the NFL these days. I just don't care that you hang 45 on a bad 4-win non-playoff team. That does not mean that you're dominant. Even if you have a big win against a really good team, depending on how the game unfolds, I'm not going to automatically see it as dominant. The Ravens dominated the Bills earlier on in the season. And then in the playoffs, it was a completely different story altogether. And it was clear how that Bills game versus the Ravens just got away from the Bills very quickly. And then once they were in a pretty big deficit, the Ravens were able to just kind of pile on. And it was like, okay, that was an awesome win and an impressive win. But, it's not like you could, the takeaway from that game wasn't, oh my God, the Ravens are just levels better than the Bills, as we saw in the actual playoffs when it mattered most. The Philadelphia Eagles were probably the closest that you had to being dominant last year, and they had tighter wins against the Cleveland Browns, against the Carolina Panthers, et cetera, et cetera. They split it with the Commanders, although Jalen Hurts got injured, and then in the playoffs, dominated the Commanders, dominated the Chiefs, so this whole dominant, I don't know. I think it's a little bit harder to reach a conclusion how dominant a team is in the regular season. Although we'll get a better feel for it because of the schedule of the Lions. If they beat the Ravens, the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Commanders, right? If they're beating all those teams, and you're like, all right, this is the best team in the NFL. Like, that is the cool thing about this schedule, is that if they rip off all these wins, you know where you stand. And even if you don't get those wins, if you beat the Ravens and the Chiefs, but lose to the Eagles in a close game, and I don't know, lose to the Commanders in a flukier type situation. Like, I don't live and die by the win-loss record. So they'll be. I feel as though going into the playoffs, you're just gonna have a great idea who this Detroit Lions team truly is. You're gonna have a great feeling of like, this team's great, this team's good, this team is hanging on by a thread. Like, you're gonna have a great feeling about it. It's very it's gonna be very what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of descriptive of who they are as a team. And especially when you combine that with a great division as well, playing the Packers, playing the Bears, playing the Vikings. But Detroit stays dominant. Yeah, I mean, like they were kind of saying, like 14, 15 wins. It's like, probably not, and I don't think that that's even necessary. And every single team this season, all the divisional winners, for the most part, they're over under, according to Vegas, is all like 11.5 or so. So everyone's just kind of in this range between 10, 11, 12 to win the division, whether you're the Chiefs, whether you're the Eagles, the Bills. So to me, like, that's where the NFL is right now. The ceiling is kind of capped, and the floor is kind of rising a little bit. I think this season, more than ever, we just have a lot of really good and a bunch of great teams, and this is what we're seeing, and it's up for the rest of the season to figure it out. I mean, it really is, because right now it's like, I feel like we could put the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Lions, the Bills, Commanders. I just really feel like they're all just in a big hat right now, and it's like, yeah, I don't know, figure it out. Like, one game you're gonna probably look awesome, another game is gonna be a little bit uglier. One game you're gonna lose, another game you're gonna look dominant. There you go, and it's just gonna be like, go ahead, make sense of that now. And it's like, I can't right now. I got no idea, especially in June. So, that's why we watch the regular season. So, I think it's just gonna be harder to answer a question like, can Detroit stay dominant? And I don't even think it's an insult on the Lions right now to be kind of like, it's a tough schedule, this, that. They lost the coordinators. Like, to me, that's all par for the course. That makes all logical sense. So, more than anything, I'm excited to see how the Lions evolve and grow without their two coordinators. And I think this offense will change. And I think this offense needs to change. And I think the way in which the offense will change should ideally actually make them better and more resilient in the playoffs, although maybe less explosive, less exciting, and less likely to have those big, massive, dominant wins against the clearly inferior teams. But like I said, it doesn't matter. You're better off winning close games against the Bills and the Eagles than dominating the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, I feel as though the Detroit Lions got a front row seat to that, quite frankly. So, That's why I'm excited to see how this offense can change and evolve. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Detroit Lions? Do you think it's more likely that they will stay dominant this coming season? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.